Hi, Esra.
Hi,
How are you?
Hi.
I'm doing fine. Just Friday office tiredness, but it's okay.
Yeah, and you have a train soon, no? In 1 hour.
Yeah, train is at 8:30, but I should leave like 8, 5, 10.
That was okay.
Mo, how are
What
you
time?
doing? Sorry,
What time is it now? 7?
7.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. Yeah, I'm also tired writing up some book reviews. That's my theme. I try to warm myself up to write my thesis, to motivate myself and also to have something to write about and get into the rhythm of working. Discipline is a problem because I'm easily distracted. So I start with 2 book reviews that I've just finished writing the second. So that's my week writing book reviews.
Which are the books?
Art books. One about Chinese contemporary art. Another one is about film, a documentary film. The equivalent of Ai Weiwei, but for documentary film. It's like a activist filmmaker who only makes underground films all
Yeah,
his life.
remind his name.
Wang Bing,
Wang Bin.
the West of track. He's like super famous. So yeah, just reading the book and writing about it is a good exercise. I feel it helps me to get new ideas and also to kind of fulfill what the editors want, and they all want different things. Every journal want different things, and it's like academic writing is about fulfilling a certain expectation of others. It's never about what you really want, because that would be art, right?
But are you planning to publish your thesis?
My thesis, likely no. I have only less than 6 months and I haven't started written not a single word. So I don't think in 6 months I will produce something that I'm proud to share. But if it gets the title, like Greg always tells me, if it does the job, then it's okay. I don't need to have the best thesis in the world. It wouldn't earn me a better title.
No, I didn't understand. Why do you care what editor wants?
Yeah, so like in order to go somewhere, let's say I want to publish my book review, or I want to publish we call it small paper. So it's like a paper of 6 to 10,000 words. So even if I want to graduate, I need to put my thesis in front of a jury. So sometimes it is for publication, sometimes it's just to get my title. So in academic writing, they all have a very rigid idea of what they want, their expectations. So it's not okay if you write really well, the language is very superlative. I don't know how to describe it. If the language is nicely put together, you use very sophisticated ideas, that's good. But they might want to see, chapter 1 introduction, 2 methodology. They want to see that. And it's like, seriously, I have to write a chapter called methodologies. And yeah, yeah, they want that.
And you don't need to submit a final project, anything like that. It's just a written thesis, right?
Yeah, it's I'm doing theoretical, so it'll be a written thesis in 6 months. I need to produce maybe a small one, maybe just 300 pages. I don't need to go over that. So
300 pages.
Oh my God,
yeah,
300 pages.
yeah, it's a small
Overwhelming
one.
already.
I think
Yeah,
the longest
it's
paper
okay.
I've written in my life is 10 pages.
Me
And
too.
I stretch it. Like I use like double line, like double line, and then like put like image that is this big.
Amazing.
Yeah, you don't have to write so many words if you are doing like art study, art research, or if you relate yourself to visual art, it's okay. But mine is more theoretical. It's about film theory, so yeah.
In Italy, it is called meta thesis. In applied arts, architecture, and cinematography, you do actually here it is very expected, the project. Like without, like only written theses are a bit, like for some reasons, academics doesn't want written theses, but maybe they are just scared of new theory crafters are coming. I don't know.
It's not useful, I think. I mean, it's not useful to write about everything 300 pages if your goal is to build a building that doesn't fall down. I mean, it's practical. So what is theoretical is not practical. And I feel like, that's why I'm like, once I get it over, I probably will never look back at my thesis because
Yeah,
I'm
but
just producing
projects are
something.
not as useful either. I feel like always they do that because they need to learn more about case studies. Maybe they will, I'm not saying they are stealing, but instead of them doing their own research, they prefer students from Chile, Turkey to do something about on their country so they can use later on as just single case study to extent. Or maybe maybe I'm too skeptical about academic.
If they find my work useful, they can use however they want. I don't care. But the worst is if they look at it and they go like, you know what? It has been written. The worst is to repeat something has been. I was going to write about this filmmaker Wang Bing, and I was even thinking about a small paper of 10,000 words. And then I discovered last week this book that I'm writing a review about. And I was like, oh my God, it's a whole book of 300 pages on this person's work solely. So I thought I may not write a paper when someone already did complete work. So now it's useful to write book reviews so that I know what has been done. So I guess that's
Yeah,
what
in
I've been doing this
architecture,
week.
actually, theses are super useful. Architects going through PhD thesis because you need some data and research
A
about the
scientific.
context
Yeah.
you're supposed to study, and instead of doing the research, you just go through free PhD thesis without giving zero credit. Now you become star architect. You will be very sensible designer. But it's one of the useful area of PhD thesis.
Yeah, I just want to mention one thing. Greg published this the PDF of the month, the pleasant
Always
art
famous.
means. Well, yeah, okay. The path to failure, path to success, and I think Greg mentioned that you wrote a comment very interesting about freelancing.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool. I like it. So your idea is just saying that when people talk about freelancing, people think, it's like owning your business. Like, I open my own, let's say, design studio, and I'm freelancing for these companies, for those clients, so that I'm the business owner of my own business. But your argument is that is not true because you're selling your time. So if you have only 24 hours and each hour you spend is 1 hour less of your life, you're not really owning any assets. You're not scaling up. I mean, theoretically, you can scale up with AI, but still, like, you are selling out your time the same as an employee, but under the umbrella of like freelancers.
Yeah, exactly. Without exploitation or having assets, it is not called business. I'm always arguing with my friends because, oh, I want to start my own business. What's your plan? I want to do like small residential buildings by my own, and then like, what's gonna happen? Like, you can't sleep even because of stress. Clients will call you Sunday. It's like, I think claiming your time is even harder, and there's huge sacrifice at least in the beginning, and there's no guarantee of success in particular sectors like construction. And like, I think artists don't get business, don't artists deny completely, but creative people also have very limited knowledge of how business functions. You need to make money, how to say, like monetary, you know, this super capitalistic entrepreneurs define in more fancy ways. Like you need to have a money tree.
Yeah,
Money.
yeah, different sources of income, different sources of business revenues, the cash cow. You know, we call it, we put them in boxes and we say, oh, this is really making me good money, so it's a cash cow. So it's like,
yeah, or like commandment of entry, time, like all that kind of things. Like if we all start doing freelancing, it's how it's gonna work in your head, or how do you think you could have like significant market share in this construction environment? And unfortunately, most of my friends or people I know also
what you
failing or
mentioned
not
is,
doing great.
you talk about a different, slight different issue. I would say your focus is like, oh, you'll not go big if you're just freelancing in the construction because you're competing against big firms. So it's more like a like you mentioned, market share is more like a glass ceiling at work, because you can't go over to the top tiers to be considered by clients because they're too small. That would not really be the case in art, because artists usually generally work on their own. Only seldomly a few would have teams. So that would be, or not. I don't know.
If I may,
Yeah.
most of these artists who are making a lot of money, they are a team. They are boss of a team, and the problem is like we were speaking about movies and architecture. I think if there's a team, if there's a boss, he's an architect, or for movie production, he's a producer, then he has to write the team who is working. But the artist doesn't have to. There's no end title, there's nobody, they are all ghosts in the team, but there are many, because you need to produce a lot. So you can do that. But the artist is the only one, I think, maybe the writer. I don't think the writer
Yeah,
can.
that's why there's ghost writers, right?
Yeah,
So
but
that's why there's a term.
I don't think the writer needs a team of 10 ghostwriters.
True, they only need one. Now with ChatGPT, they don't need any.
Yeah, no,
Unless you're writing for, unless you set up your own agency and writing for
yeah,
like
right.
10 clients, and then you
Exactly.
hire 10 writers to do 10.
Exactly. Under your name.
But
Yeah.
So you're just the boss. Yeah.
But successful artists, once you become successful and you have a demand on your output, they always hire assistants. You know, you have a studio manager, and then you hire people who are actually doing the stretching, the painting, the whatever, the welding, whatever you're doing.
Everything. It's not assistants. They are doing the job.
Yeah.
It's more like and they don't have to be written somewhere. I think only Jeff Koons, to defend him for once, he writes the team and the number of hours of everybody producing the artwork to justify the price. He's the only one transparent about it.
Yeah, but he's not paying his worker really well either.
No, but yeah, it doesn't tell about the price, but it tells about the amounts of hours, as far as I know.
But I know that I have some friends in LA who work for, say, Ed Ruscha, and that's a way for them to help their careers. So they do it because it helps their careers. They get introduced. I actually have a friend who, she's a bookkeeper, and she does his bookkeeping, and it's her full-time job, because she's an artist and she needs, you know, a full-time job. So she's the bookkeeper for Ed Ruscha, which I think, you know, I hate doing the money stuff myself. I hate it. And so to be able to afford having a bookkeeper would be amazing for me. But, you know, You need to be a big artist out selling a lot for that.
Well, not really. A few artists I know in Milan, they are quite young and institutionally successful, but the galleries' expectations from them are like very unrealistic, especially if you are doing sculpture. It's not easy to finish things, so they are kind of obliged to get artist assistants,
Oh, poor
like
guys.
studio assistants for projects. Not for, like one of my close friend does this freelance studio assisting, and she's quite happy the way she's getting paid, but like literally zero credit. What I'm trying to say that also gallery system is quite toxic to the young artists, like not only for star artists, even like smaller scale artists are expected to produce more than a human capacity.
It has always been the case since Michelangelo and Raphael. It has always been the case. They had a team working for them, and the more you produce, the more you appear, and the more you exist. And that's not the gallery system. That's the communication system. Is the more you send. It's not truly about the quality. It's about the massive amount of production. With a minimum quality, of course. If you are a good artist and you can lead the people to do something good, but most of the artists they can buy. I think in Italy they are the best, one of the best, because of a fine art school, one of the best studio of ghost artists, writing for Koons, working for Koons and working for the Americans. They are in Italy because
Also, yeah, craftsmen's are very
and the fine art
appreciated.
school, and they
Yeah.
are really good. The tradition and the price also compared to
cheaper than US, yeah.
yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, how do you define someone who, let's say, an artist, is so-called freelancing or like selling out their time? Does it mean if this person is doing commissions, therefore he's freelancing, he's not growing his business, he's not having ownership of the assets he creates, which is intellectual property? But if he's just producing, let's say, the art, no, not making commissions, then he is set to go somewhere. But if what he's producing is not increasing in value, then the asset is not evaluated very well. Therefore, he's still not worth nothing, like in this company evaluation. Then the only way is to produce more if the value is not going up. So I'm just feeling, I'm trying to like put the business side of things into the world of art and see how does it fit.
Like you said, if the value is not increasing, you increase the time.
You increase the amount of output.
Earn more. Amount of output means like working more and time. Invested time.
More
Not
making
necessary.
more shit works.
You find a way to multiply
not necessarily working more, but like working less time on each piece.
Yeah, like I actually see this in an artist that I recently observed. Like I see that there's the first obstacle of moving from commission work to creation. So that is like going from freelancing to start your own actual business with, because you are investing your money and time on producing those works, which turned to be your company valuation, right? Your assets, intellectual and physical assets. So when you build a work for client, it goes to the client, it's not yours. But then when you first build your business, real business, let's say, make paintings, they're not worth a lot yet. So from they're not worth a lot to trying to go somewhere, there's this from quantitative to qualitative move. Because if you're still not selling it, then the only thing you can do in the meanwhile is to produce more. But you only have 24 hours a day, so to produce more, you need to spend less time on each piece. Therefore, it's even less good. So how to break this vicious circle?
But that's really important how much time it is spent, like in the business aspect. No, at the unit times value. All we care about the volume of the earnings. So you are saying instead of increasing value, she needs to increase units.
It's the urge, because they cannot sell it higher, so they are kind of stuck. Like each piece for $300 to $500 a piece. Let's say if this person cannot sell it at a higher price, maybe it's the market, maybe it's the style, maybe it is, I don't know, could be any reason. So
Anna, you wanted to say something?
Producing more doesn't make sense. You're just gonna have a pile of work that you can't sell. You need to put your time into making that work that already exists valuable, whether
how?
it's PR, increasing your own status as an artist, that's a more valuable use of the time, not producing more artworks. At least that's my opinion of someone who has thousands of artworks sitting in my studio, which is terrible. I hate it.
I think because I've talked to a couple of professional artists recently, like artists that are being represented by galleries and like are like selling actually. I had a conversation with them. I think even if you're at that level, even if you're selling and your stuff is worth something, you still need to constrain the time you spend on each piece, because at the end of the day, I hate to say this, but it's a product, and if it's a product and you spend 1,000 hours on it, but you're painting, let's say it's 200K, let's say, but you spend 2,000 hours on it, then each of your hours are less money, right? You're getting paid less money. So I think even I know we're talking about like people who are not selling, so we're arguing whether we should produce more unit versus like spend more time on one unit. But at the end of the day, even if you're selling, you need to constrain the time you spend on each of your work. That's just the reality if you want to get paid. And I mean, obviously, if you have a lot of money, then that's not an issue. But
yeah, it's exactly the same if you're a fisherman. If you spend a lot of time fishing and you have a big fish, but then it's too much time, then your fish is too expensive or you don't get the value of. So you need to have efficiency, and so for that you need to lower the quality of your work, and then you have to kill all the fish to be more efficient, like the tuna can system. With a net taking every fish because they have to be very efficient, so they kill all of them and then they do the tuna can. And
but there's this one question, because like how like movie director, they get like boom by one movie, like they get all these famous by one movie. Let's take like James Cameron, right? Like he was like, I don't know about him before Titanic because I wasn't born before that, but to me he seemed like he went from like a good director to like, wow, a superstar director by doing Titanic. So the argument is that like, I mean, he obviously spent a lot of time on making Titanic, but as an artist, you can't look backwards, right? You can't, we never know whether our next piece is going to be the piece that is going to like make us James Cameron, right? So how do you find the balance between making good work versus making work that just okay and just like get it out the door, maybe next piece will be better? How do you find the balance?
I maybe not finding balance, but filling the gap with marketing and but I think like that you need
so
to
it's just
find
tune out okay work and then fill the gap with marketing
I
Yeah,
like that.
and right connections and
and
establishing your
connections,
CV.
network.
And I think unit times value equation in business, ideally, you increase unit and value simultaneously. But
Mhm.
in the art world, I agreed with Anna. Trying to increase value is much more traditionally suited in the art world. Like because the buyers are so tight with the value. Because in business, not every product necessarily engage with the buyer. If you have a business about cables, you sit down and understand if you need to sell more units or increasing and perfecting your cables. But in the art world, it definitely makes more sense to me to increasing value, which is the least, like compared to other sectors, it is the least questionable. Because anything else people consider more. If you buy a calculator or notebook or anything else, price is the main concern. But about art, there is some hook before price.
Mhm.
And
And
with
But I think that's the same for any sector. So like, what makes a Coach bag versus what makes a Hermes bag, right? That's the hoka. It's the hoka.
Not all sectors. Luxury is excluded, like diamonds and art are in the, like Coach bag is kind of in the same category, intellectually a bit different, but even most of that luxury bags, like I don't know if in foundation of Louis Vuitton, foundation of Prada, like these groups are highly invested in art and they position themselves in the art world or like generational, how to say, generational assets.
yeah, and with
Yeah, like
art, you're
long
not,
lasting.
yeah, you're not just buying the product, you're buying the artist. So you have to take care of your reputation. You have to know the right people. You have to be seen at the right openings. You have to be participating in the right festivals. So one thing that I mean, I don't know anything about promoting movies, but we just did a small documentary, and I was like, okay, let's start getting into festivals. And then our director said, well, we have to be really strategic about this. We're not going to do this festival, that we're going to try for these specific ones. And I'm like, real? Whoa, I guess, yeah, I know. I believe you, because you have to protect the movies, like,
Image.
yeah. And so that's I think every creative field has this. It's not just your product. It's not just your artwork. It is the way it's marketed, it is who doing it, it is you. It's people are buying the artist. Unfortunately, for people who are shy or live in the middle of nowhere, or, are, not the right image of, like what your thing said, Greg, like, tortured, starving, male, alcoholic, all this ideas of what has been the idea of what an artist is.
Like the brand, like the personal brand.
Yeah, there's one difference is so let's say, because we say the word art, and if we just say visual production, visual expression, it's becoming much more simpler. It's so if you go through the gallery system, and there are different groups of galleries, so it's different clubs, and you don't really need to be good. You need to be at a certain level, okay, but you don't need to be skilled so much. But if you sell to as an artist, if you make your own producer, and you don't go with the galleries, with these galleries and museums, and which is small different clubs. If you go directly, let's say with social media or website or YouTube, and you sell your own, you have your own image as well. And of course, if you are, let's say, if you get a name, because I don't know, one person very well known. So you go with you meet Iowa or Coppola, and then you make a movie with a person, and you make an artwork with a person, and then you become famous because of the proximity. And but then if you are selling directly to the masses, to an audience, if you are not there's you need to be still good at what you're doing. You need to be skillful, and it's easily, let's say, there's the example of Rothko, Mark Rothko. Okay, he produced quite a lot, and he had a very fast technique, and he was good with colors. But then there's a level of skills. Then all the rest is about we say, oh, it's legendary, it's mystical. You can transcend yourself looking at his art and all of that. And in fact, there's all the writings and all of that came from a meeting from him with it's the Rockefellers, the big banker.
Even he was a classmate in high school with Jackson Pollock, and who's the other super famous painter who was painting about Ku Klux Klan? I
Oh, yeah,
couldn't
I didn't
remember
know.
now. They were classmates in high school. I think, of course, his relationship with Levelers Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation,
Yeah.
it is like where his career exploded, but also I believe in generation creating.
Also.
It cannot be that coincidence. I mean, even in small scales, like in Istanbul or in Turkey, I can easily observe if people are successful, they are successful as a group. Like everyone has like very, very tight and small connection, or they are through a cult or religious or minority.
A church.
But
Yeah.
what I meant is
or like real relationships.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Marriage.
the networking, but then the level of skill is you can debate about his skill, how good he is, because then he found an idea and then he just repeated himself, and he didn't have really to think about it. Okay, like Yaoi Kusama.
Mm-hmm.
Is another example. I'm not even sure if she touches her brush. I don't think so. It's not, but maybe she deserves that. But the thing is, there are big entities, big groups. They are making huge communication, and then the skills, there or not, it's not important anymore, because the myth and the legends, the legend is coming, and is going over everything. So the thing is, with Coppola, he made a recent movie about architecture.
Francis Coppola or
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, the dad, not the
Mm-hmm.
yeah, about architecture, and the movie didn't go well. Okay, and I don't know if it's good, but then the thing about cinema, if it's not good, it's like restaurant. Okay, you can have you can be the Yao Kusama of restaurant and find a good idea and then doing the same. Then if it's bad, it's bad, and it doesn't work. And then they are ashamed. The masses, they are really critical of them. They are destroying them on social media and all that. It doesn't happen so much with artists. When the artist is becoming a legend, he can even cheat in a bar, then it's okay.
But
And they
an
did.
artist would never be in that much. I don't know any artist would engage as much as a director.
Banksy, maybe.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Like,
not
they don't have
even.
that much power on Twitter.
Yeah, but let's say a restaurant owner. If he's not good, he's not good. You cannot like,
yeah, but gastronomy, architecture,
No?
and filmmaking are much
No,
more similar.
I disagree with one thing. It's like, so I think the skill level of business of a restaurant owner is like 60%, and the gastronomy is 40%. But the skill of artists, I wouldn't say, you know, you need 60% business skill, because I know someone who can cook really well, but will never run a successful restaurant because this person lack the human resource skills, accounting skills, you know, any other kind of skills that is essential to keep a team, a business running, especially client facing, right? So I think the level of artist business skill is not that highly demanded. At least that's what I think. But one thing with a cinema that is engaging wider audience than artists, I agree. But one thing about cinema that is very different, I think Anna mentioned the fundamental difference in marketing or communication, if you may want to use a different word, is the virginity. When you send a movie to a festival, it needs to be world premiere. It needs to be the first time. If you send it the second time, they will reject it. You disqualify. That is a little bit different from, let's say, pitching a book or pitching a paper to publish. If someone says no, you can repitch this to another editor, to another publisher. Film festival, yes. If someone says no, you potentially, but then you're holding the film back for another year, because usually film festivals are annually, and you don't want to hold it back another year.
Yeah.
Therefore, you need to be very careful who you pitch first. But artists, there's not this timeliness issue or the losing the virginity issue. It's not like his first solo show needs to be a hit or he is doomed for the rest of his life. No. So
No, but
therefore, artists can try many times. So as many times as he wants. It's just how much he can afford trying.
I meant with the audience, like the cinema ticket varies €5 to €15, but the artwork costs like minimum €2,000. So how, I mean, engagement in
exhibition-
general is like
Yeah.
thousands of people will go that movie, that's for sure, and half of them use Twitter and they have like huge power, plus they are super polarized and it is pushed by Twitter, so they have a huge volume of social media power. For any artist, like they don't care engaging with mass. They cannot, because nature of the work is not meant to be engaging with folks.
But I disagree. I think they should try. That's my difference. I think many artists, they want like a good 100 follower, but they are like all best collectors. But I think I would rather have 100,000 non-collectors than a really good 100 collectors following me. Because I think, I mean, like, let's say, maybe not, let's say flying. 50 years ago, flying was only for this 100 rich people out of your town that can, you know, buy a flight ticket. But today, I don't know anybody around me who hasn't taken a flight yet. I don't know anybody. Maybe a 1-year-old baby, but the rest of the person have at least have taken one flight. So today, the consumption of art is not as common as cinema, but doesn't mean that in 10 years will not be. I mean, it will not always stay an elite sport. So
no, I think the art world, the high art world, is completely elitist, and you do not want 100,000 followers. You want 100 of the best followers. I mean, the people who are going to buy you to protect your career. And there was an article in the New York Times about 2 weeks ago about these young artists who made mistakes with their career and they sold too many paintings too quickly. And some of them didn't go through galleries, and they sold like a lot of paintings directly to their customers. And these were young artists who were selling paintings for, say, $20,000 or $30,000. And then it was being seen as a commodity because they were the right kind of artists. Their careers were on a trajectory, and then all of a sudden their works were selling for 200,000, 300,000, and then a crash happens and their careers are just tanked, and their artwork comes up on a secondary market and it sells for $15,000 when the last price that it sold for was $250,000.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. The article was blaming the artists themselves. They had made mistakes in their careers, or if they were through a gallery, their gallerist had made mistakes and inflated them too much. They're young, they're like maybe straight out of grad school, and instead of like a slow ascent for, your works are selling for $10,000 and then $15,000 and then 20 and then 30, you can't just jump to 300. It's just not good for your career. And but that's a very rarefied thing. I mean, I totally agree with you, Mo. I hate it that art is so elitist. And so I just want to give up with that whole thing myself, because I don't think that art should be an elitist endeavor, but I think the high art world, that's what it thrives on.
Yeah.
High fashion as well, right? But then you have fast fashion. So fast fashion is fashion too. I mean, I hate the fact that some artists that I met, they were like, "Oh, I only want to sell it, at the level of, I don't know, the highest level." And especially some says, "I want to go to auction house." I'm like, the secondary market, you can't go to the auction house. But I don't care. I want to sell with the biggest names. I'm like, okay, but first check what is first and secondary market, primary and secondary market. But this illusion of making it overnight become a big hit, like having making a coming through. But making the Titanic, but it's like it usually doesn't work that way. Like Anna said, it's from 10,000 to 11,000 to 12,000, not from 10,000 to 200,000.
And usually it's much more trivial reasons. They tell about pricing and all, but in fact it's just because you are not a friend or you make a networking problem. You are not good. You tell the wrong sentence or at the wrong time, and it's
You
just
piss
bad.
someone off, yeah.
But there are small
Yeah.
clubs. It's not one club around the world. It's small clubs, and then you go to the club. You can try, and of course, you need to be excellent in the elite. It's not about money in the elite world. It's about being excellent at something. If you have a child from you have a very wealthy elite, they have a child, and the child wants to be an artist. They say, "Oh, okay, you won't make money, it's okay. You won't be powerful, but at least be excellent at what you're doing." And this is the most important for them. So if they are well perceived and they have a good network, it's like the the Anna Weyant, the girlfriend of
Is that
Gabriel Jung.
Gagosian's girlfriend? Yeah.
She sells million. And it's not because she's not bad. She appears very well. She's good in communication. Technically, she's not bad, but she's at a level that many artists are. And they say like the new Botticelli or the woman Botticelli, and the communication is so big, and one day she will be, or she might have a networking problem with a guy, and then boom, finished. She will disappear. It's not pricing. It's about the excellence. It's the gentleman. Is clubbing. So if you if you sell directly, if you make your own business with social media, or if you can try, it's very hard. But there are people making money with visual expression. and they
Mhm.
don't go in any club, and they
There's a,
don't really tell it's art. They tell is, I don't know, illustration, or I don't know.
there's a saying in Chinese, that says like if you get your fame when you're young, you will tend to fall like this. Um,
The
and
child
I
for
年少得志大不什么 it's like it's just basically saying if you get fame and famous when you're young, you tend to fall in your face. And I have a good example because one of my high school friends became a big K-pop star when he was really young.
Oh,
His name is Wu Yifan. He's my high school high school classmate. And what happened was that when he was 20, we were at the age when we were like, writing, university paper, he was already like top K-pop star. He came back to China and he became one of the biggest star ever. And I remember there was one day I was sitting because I'm still living in the area where I went to high school in. So I went into this little cafe and there was a plaque on the cafe that says all the celebrity names and his name was on there. I was thinking to myself, what have I done with my life? Look at this guy who went to the same high school as I did, and he's already on the planet. I'm still here sitting and then, drinking my bubble tea, making my I don't know how much, making my salary and just having an ordinary life. So pathetic. And then 3 months later, after I had this thought, he went into the biggest sex scandal ever. And his fame
of
went
whole
like
Chinese, I would say the biggest scandal. I wouldn't say Chinese
ever.
history, but oh my God, like
He got a sex scandal and he is jailed in China for 13 years. And as soon as he's done with his jailing, he's going to be kicked back out. He's not Chinese citizen, so he will be kicked out. So what is the lesson here? If you go like this, sometimes you're going to fall like this if you
yeah,
don't
the
have the
higher you
brain. And
fly, the harder you fall. Yeah.
if you don't have brain and if you don't have excellencies. Yeah.
Chris Wu, Wei Fan.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's
When you say Wei
he's
Fan,
my
I'm
high
like,
school,
it must be a different person. Oh my God.
he's my high school classmate.
Like, we
Greg, do
call
you
him
know
all
about
different
him?
names.
No? Okay.
I follow the scandal from the beginning,
So
and
yeah.
at
So
first I thought it's a setup or something, but
it is
it
a setup.
seems
It
like,
has to be a setup. He stepped on someone's tail, probably. Someone's important.
yeah, but he had
Anyway,
to.
but to the
Have it.
Western year, sex scandal is not a big thing, right? Like Kim Kardashian, she ride on sex scandal, right? Like Kim Kardashian got his fame because you know, she
yeah.
released a tape of her having sex with someone. But like in the Asian world, like because we are a bit more conservative than the Western, like sex scandal is the end of your career. You're done.
Mm.
But in any scenario, it is very vulnerable position. Like, because your success, even if it's high-end art world, as Anna mentioned, like people's careers just drop down. It still doesn't justify any systematic problems because it still keeps going. But I think the moral of the story is like, if someone gives you the title, they could just take it back one day. Like that's
Yep.
what's happening. I think it is also nice to encourage young artists to have that. In that sense, I understand why freelancers consider themselves as a business owners, because they have say the self-control, because it is still not there are so many not controllable parameters. It's just like you are not taking order from your boss, you are taking order from client. But still, I think as a culture among artists should be improved, that being happy is more important than being successful, or like being successful in your own pace and stuff like that.
And
It sounds like personal development.
Yeah, no,
So you think
really,
so Ezra, you think it's more important to be happy or successful?
of course, being happy is more
Okay.
important. Of course.
Yeah.
So the successful artist equals to a happy artist.
But you know, it's the idea, like with my students, I would say, what is success? You know,
Yeah.
it's a
What is it?
predefined thing. You know, you make a success. I want to sell a painting for $5,000. Okay, you reach that. And then, okay, and then what is success? You have to constantly decide. It changes as you move through your life. And you know, you're never going to be totally happy and feel totally successful, because as art, it's just like, yeah, you can reach this pinnacle and you can easily fall off it. And so, you know, define success maybe as your own personal happiness or your own personal agency in making art. It's the only way. If you define success as something outside of yourself, you're just doomed to fail. It's too hard a world.
Mhm.
So
I don't know. Like, I think happiness is a state of mind, and it is a neurological issue as long as you survive. And success is, of course, everyone should sit down and define their success story, but it is much more like success is something measurable, unfortunately. But even I think today's art world, now there's so much supply, even traditional art world will crash at one point, because they're like, people discover power of social media, and there's so many available artists, and there's not that much of demand. But I think success in this world is success. It's much more agreeable. Yeah, it's like exhibiting in certain galleries is a success, or like financial success is a success, or having the control of management your time.
Mhm.
That's very in high fashion in these days. Like, this way of definition success is success. It's like all of them are extremely individualistic, because I'm reading, listening. So it's kind of my guilty pleasure to read like high capitalist people's advice. Like, I read a bunch of this guy, including like blue ocean strategies and stuff like that. I really read a lot, and like the only question always in my head, like, it doesn't suit for all of us, and they just try to make people believe, and it's sort of scam. Is you can do it, like we cannot all become a millionaire, so not all can have control of their own time. Then how you are gonna go to hospital, like how you will survive, like in a basic, like somebody needs to be in the post office, somebody needs to clean the street, and somebody like I don't like this idea of having total control of your time, but that's the definition of success for so many people. Plus, we are witnessing so many wars and unwanted things in the world. I think psychologically also it's justified to having a bit of control in your life, brings some level of cognitive
Peace of mind.
peace of mind.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah, very good and very to the point. I totally agree. It's like we have different benchmarks. We shouldn't be measured against the
KPI.
same
Yeah.
benchmark. And Greg hates those kind of, the success formula. Like sometimes he shows me like a tutorial, and then on YouTube it jumps out some kind of advertising, like do the 7 things, like to be successful, this and that, Mind Valley, this and that. And he's like, shut up, like skip ad. So
Now,
totally.
the success in our society, in the Western society, is financial success. There is success we define, but this is goal. You have a goal, you set your goal, you have success. But in the Western society, it's financial, and it's measurable, and any artist who says otherwise is lying or denying, because this is the game. It's financial. So
Well, would you say our marriage is successful?
No, but
Oh
you don't say
no.
that.
Sorry, it's a bad joke.
The goal of it,
Yeah.
yeah, it's successful, but financially, yeah, you destabilize me.
Let's get offline. Okay, goodbye. Talk about this. I don't want to hear this. I'm gonna go offline.
It's a good way to jump into just small points because Esra will go soon. Just I have two questions. Anna, you were telling about you were publishing about your residency. You made a list of artists.
Yep,
So
yep.
it's in the future.
It's the upcoming. Well, with the first name we already had. I always think of our season as summer to fall to spring, and then because
Yeah.
the summer is usually off. And we're not completely full. And so usually when I when I finally do the publish, then a couple more people will say, hey, I forgot to tell you I want to come. And so I have a couple more names to add, which is good. But
Okay.
it's good. Keeping it going.
But you select them. If there are some people you say no.
No, hardly ever. No, I mean, what happens is people will approach me and I look and make sure that they're just serious about their work. We don't have, anything except that it's for serious artists who are, whatever. A lot of them are doing their very first residency. I just talked to somebody who's coming from New Jersey and she said, this is going to be my first residency. I'm like, perfect. This is exactly what you want. There's no requirements. So we have, yeah. It's just some people who need to be serious about their work.
We were because of the person the couple you met last month, our residents. We were surprised because they were making a lot of residencies before, but we were the only one. Explain. We were
It's the
the only
work
one who
live.
didn't. Yeah.
Work live. So we offer both a space for working and living in the same place.
Like
We are the
Anna,
first one.
like you do, Anna.
Yeah.
But most of our residencies, including
Just the studio.
Christine in Boston, is just a place. You don't live in. It's you work.
A studio plus exhibition place usually.
Then it's not residency.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Residency is it should, at least for me. It's like in a restaurant, you don't have tables. It's not a restaurant. It's a takeaway.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can imagine if you're in a very big city and you're only, taking residencies from people who live in the city so they don't have to find a place to stay. Because if you're going to find a place to stay here, it's going to be $200 a night. It's crazy.
And then the 2 kilometers away, I guess it's very remote.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you don't want to take the train, or you don't want to
miss the.
No, the great thing about a residency is you come someplace and you're just living with very minimal requirements. Maybe you're making your food and you don't have all your other distractions. And that's what people want. They just want to be able to work for 8 hours or 10 hours, whether it's reading or, hiking and thinking and making work, whatever, that's what we offer. So
Taaye is what you did. So you did a residency. You did
no, it was a workshop. It wasn't a residency.
Okay.
I took a course at a university in Taiwan for 2 weeks to learn. Yeah, so I was with like 40 people and we were just like painting for like 10 hours a day.
Wow.
It was very, very hot blood, like very like
I
it was
mean,
like exactly university. You take class 9 to 5 and then you get home, you eat and sleep for 1 hour and then you got up and you're like, okay, I got to do homework.
wow, intensive training.
Very, very intense. But that's what I wanted. I didn't want to like I didn't want to fly all the way to Asia and just take like some mediocre 3 hour per week kind of course. I want something intense.
Wow.
You don't need to discover like the city. I mean, you don't need to like do tourism. So you
I
come
had
there,
a
don't want to
weekend.
beat around the bush.
I had a weekend, and I mean, I spent my weekend walking around Taichung, right? And that's enough.
Oh, cool.
And you progressed a lot. I mean, changed a lot on your technique.
Yeah, I think it's because of the medium. The medium
The
drives, like I tend to let medium drives my
pigment.
work a lot. And it's I'm like the medium, it's quite a new medium. It's to me. It's so there's a lot of learning curve. So the learning curve is like this. It's very steep. Yeah. Oh, but like for context, I was learning this technique called Nihonga. It's basically translate as Japanese painting, and it's called Yancai in Chinese. Basically, it's an old Asian technique. You can think about it like kind of like Italian fresco, but you do it on a canvas. So what you do, it's a completely independent medium compared to oil paint, acrylic, and watercolor. It's its own thing. So basically what you do is that like you use a raw medium, like kind of like grinded rock, grinded minerals, and then you mix your own pigment, you mix your own binder, you mix your own pigment, and then you kind of combine them and then paint it on a paper canvas.
Mm.
So the result is that it has like the fluidity of watercolor, but it can also be like layer like oil paint. And what I liked about it is that it also has like, because it's rock and mineral, it has like the shininess of rocks.
Wow.
So it was very, very, yeah, I've been wanting to take that for like 4 years. I finally made it happen.
That's really good because it's what I was telling to a resident is if you have an identity in your art, if you want to have a message, and if you yourself, the way you are dressing, the way you even the way you behave, or anything is a persona you create and you communicate. It's as important today as your technique, as your style, and the pigment is very important, and especially after AI. Now, if you don't match everything and you don't create something that makes
Exactly.
the wall around well communicated persona, like a fiction character, you lose it. And so one thing is really good that you are matching it, but then there's one thing you could work on is the way you show the pigment in the plastic tubes. It's killing the pigment.
The
So
mystical Asian
it's not
vibe.
the mystical, is it's all pigment is it's so the environment, the way it doesn't match
Yeah.
the let's say the packaging, and it's killing. It's like putting
I know what you're talking
yeah.
about. I have a good example. Usually people can I turn around my camera? Is it possible to turn it around? How do I turn around my camera? Oh, here. So can you see this image?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how usually people show it, because it's, wow, look at that shelf, full of pigments, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the proper way how you should show it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
narrative of it, and
Yeah.
I think it's a big push to. You could even make an article on your website about the matching of your subject and why and all, and then even if you set a better environment than plastic with stones and all of that, you will be maybe making yourself better stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, let's take it slow.
Yeah,
I just learned
it's
this a
pretty
month
good.
ago. I need time. Like, no,
Most artists,
but you know what, Greg? I kept thinking about what you said about the AI thing, like while I was learning this technique. Because of how physical this technique is, and like you can get really thick, and like if you photograph the work from different angle, it will shine differently because of the reflection of light on the rock and the mineral. So I kept thinking about what you said about AI when I was learning this technique. I was like, oh, would be really good. Like Greg would be really proud of me. Yeah. So
yeah.
I mean, I did 2 paintings during the course because it was 2 weeks. was quite intense, and yeah, so I plan to play a little more with the pigments to um it's funny because it's a technique that I'm not even sure a lot of Asians know about this, and not like leave alone the Western world. So I was like thinking about, oh, if I learn more about this technique, maybe I can like start taking teaching workshop, and
Yeah.
like because I'm the only one, probably the only one doing it in Vancouver, or like
Yeah. I
half
totally
of
agree.
yeah half of North
Australia needs to
America,
go.
huh?
No?
Yeah.
Australia needs to go.
Yeah,
No?
but the conversation is so engaging. Actually, it's very, very inspiring, like working with real minerals. I want to hear more, and even maybe next month we can a bit discuss, because I feel
Yeah.
like in my art, I am missing some physicality, but I like
Mm-hmm.
having control. Although I have like digitally complex process, it is still kind of not fitting. Like I cannot make my mind if it should be art print or like one single work, and I cannot decide about that for last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it is very inspiring if I can find something with the real materials, because my art subject is like earth, like
Yeah.
more cultural things, but
Yeah.
lately it evolved with mapping, which has a lot to do my work practice, but I cannot still materialize. I'm not very satisfied about it. But I
I
don't want
hear
to
you.
ruin the aesthetical frame, because aesthetically it is satisfying. So like some blue pigment or inks, I was thinking, or like even inventing my own small
Yeah.
laboratory thing would be
Yeah.
interesting. So definitely I want
Maybe
to discuss.
when I explore more of this technique, I can show
Yeah,
you
teach
really
me.
quickly how
I
to
can be your
how,
first student.
online student. I can show you quickly how to do certain things, but like the oh my God, the materials, I swear to you, they're like bling bling to me. They're just so like the metal, like because you use a lot of minerals, so they're bling bling, You use a lot of metal foil, which is bling bling again, and then you use it, and then it's a it's a very troublesome technique, like because there's a lot of physicality. You have to mix your own pigment, you have to like get like stretch your own paper and stuff like that. And there's one point the teacher was like, oh, maybe we should teach you how to make glue. I was like, no, just go buy some glue. It's freaking glue, okay? Just go buy some freaking glue. I don't want to learn that. And then there's this transfer paper that like you use to transfer your image, and it's like, oh yeah, we can teach you how to do. No, just go buy some. Anyway, I know you need to catch a train.
No, I
But
was
it's
just
very
looking at today. I finished my 50-meter long translucent paper.
oh,
I was
you
just
can make
looking
your
at
own
that.
transfer paper if you want. No,
No, I'm good.
just go buy it.
I love technology.
I just want to add that here, sometimes artists will come here and they make their own inks out of, like, they'll find because there's charcoal around, and they
Yeah.
will make their own ink by burning some stuff, and then they've left, like, this is the ink from the mesquite tree, and this is the ink from
Mhm.
the tamarisk tree, and which is really interesting. And we've had artists draw with the charcoal that they find on cement out here. So and then the wind comes and it blows the charcoal away, and they think of it I mean, all that stuff, that's the best. Those artists who come and they use the environment, or
Yeah.
we don't have a kiln here, so that they dig a pit and they burn something and they cook their things in the ground. It's very inspiring to see how
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
artists use the physicality of the
I
desert.
have to
Yeah.
leave. Ciao.
Ciao,
Yeah.
ciao. It's a pleasure.
Bye. See you next
And
time.
you're right, Taaye, about the not knowing. Oh, Anna as well. So
And then
it's a very
I
yeah,
think she
it's very
accidentally clicked something. I
oh
know. Yeah. Sorry, Mo, go on,
yeah.
keep going.
No, it's just when you say not so many Asians know about this mineral painting, I totally agree. I don't know what it is, but I only know the word 颜彩, and for me, this word, and for Chinese, It's from the Gobi Desert of the Dunhuang
It's
paintings
from
on the
Dunhuang.
wall. Yes,
It's from
for
Dunhuang, yeah.
us, it's not the ink, the pigment from the rock that matters. It is the output on the wall. So for us, it is the graffiti, it's a mural. This is how we perceive Yancai. It's like when you say graffiti, you think about the fact it's on the wall. It doesn't
Spray
matter if you
paint.
spray, yeah, exactly, or
Yeah.
stencil it, or you use a brush. It doesn't matter as long as you, yeah, like basically,
Yeah. You know, it's
you
funny
put it
because
on the wall.
when I told my dad that I'm going to Taiwan to learn this technique, Yantai, my dad has the same reaction. But it's actually it's not because the one on Dunhuang is called Bihua, right? It's like
Yeah, yeah,
wall
yeah,
paint. It's
yeah,
Italian fresco. But
yeah.
they actually like the technique, Japanese took it and then like everything else, Japanese took it and they make it like 50 times faster, right? So they already took it and then they're able to evolve it so much to put it on a canvas. So it's literally like the painting you had behind it, but just different type of pigment and different types of binder. So it's not like I have to go to Dunhuang and do it on a wall, right? You know, it's not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you say, "Oh, I have some graffiti art," and it's actually painted on a canvas, not on the wall. It's weird to some people. It's like, "Oh, why is not on the wall?" So for me, also, it's like when you say it's on paper, and that's my first reaction because this is our perception,
Yeah.
and that's also because I'm Chinese, not Japanese.
It's
But also
biased.
it's a bias. It's a bias, and this bias can be good and bad in different ways.
Mm.
Because in Japan, then you wouldn't have to explain to people that why it's not on the wall, because on the wall for them is weird. But for
Yeah.
us, there's a bias that we expect to see it on the wall.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a different, I would say, it can be used for, I mean, as a strength, and it might comes with a bias or with a weakness as
Yeah.
well. Like
Yeah.
everything, like every medium, every format and style.
It's difficult because you know I thought about this for 4 years, right? I'm kind
Yeah.
of procrastinator in some way. Because in some way this medium it's not well known even to Asian. So think about it promoting to Westerner. Because we don't even know what it is. Think about promoting it to Greg, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like someone who completely don't know anything about Asian. But that being said, you know, I think sometimes in life you can't think so strategically. You just kind of have to go for it and just like shoot the arrow that you want to shoot, and then just learn it, you know, and see what happens.
I think this, especially the rock, that the fact that you're far away from where the origin
China.
of the technique. So as a Chinese, we say the foreign monkeys know how to, not
Yeah.
foreign monkeys, foreign monks know how to sing better, right? Like 外来的和尚会念经. So the
Oh,
fact
I've
that
never heard that before, but
oh
okay.
yeah, 外来的和尚会念经. So it's
I
like
never heard
because
that. Yeah.
the local monks, you already know everything
She
about
made
him.
You
You know
already know the
everything.
song. You
She
already
made
know
it
the
up.
song.
Yeah, exactly. So the foreign ones
Yeah.
are very exotic and they can, let's say, sing better. Like,
Yeah.
I would say if you connected locally with maybe cartographers, is that the right word? The people who work
Photographer?
in cartographer, the people who make maps.
The soil, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
地质学家,
oh,
地质学家, the
oh,
people
yeah,
who
yeah.
study rocks and the archaeology rocks, the ones who predict the earthquakes, these people.
Yeah.
People, they also need a creative outlet. Let's say I know one of my old professor works with artists painting for hospitals, for psychological and retreat hospitals to bring peace of mind, let's say. So that's like a niche, a cross niche. You cross your audience, that is medical workers, and the style that is soothing image, let's say. It's like then you can cross maybe this material, this way of painting with another industry that might heavily, invest emotionally in your work because they love rocks. That's why they do what they do. So maybe that's
Right.
another idea. Like approach a local museum of, I don't even know how to call those people, rock people, and then like,
geology.
yeah,
Geography.
But
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And the people who collect rocks and the one who like love those kind of niche.
Mm-hmm.
present your work with them, and you're like, hey, did you know that?
Maybe, maybe not. Because you have a subject already is about the birds. So if you try to match everything, it will be going
Yeah,
everywhere.
it's a bit stretching,
Yeah.
but I do have to say, because I connected with a lot of like I took 3 weeks in Asia and it was not a leisure trip. I was social networking every single minute, like
Wow.
every single hour I was networking. My schedule, I can show you. It was crazy. It was like Google Map was like blue, 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 blue. Anyway, but I'm also the type of person that likes to put everything on Google Map. And if I lose my Google Map, I go crazy. Anyway, so I connected with quite a lot of people in Asia, people that are in the art world. And before I go on this trip, I find this um I was looking at artists that does like 岩彩画, like this technique that I was telling you guys. And she was like going on, I was chatting with her, and she was about to go on to a trip to India to study the grand, or study in the graffiti that was there, like the Italian fresco that was in the Indian fresco. And I was thinking, oh my God, that's like the type of life that I want to live. Like I want to travel and I want to like study culture. And that's like, potentially if I can bring my work somewhere, that is a type of life that I want to work, I don't want to live. Now, it might manifest in a different way. It might be end up going to Canadian cave from like 50, 100 years ago. And like, I don't know, American cave, and then studying the wall painting there. It might manifest it that way. But I think it's important to like what you were saying earlier, Mo. It's important to imagine what success means to you and kind of update your image and just keep imagining. I don't know if I'm being clear on my point. Anyway, yeah.
But every work has opportunity to travel. Even in academia, I realized that people traveled from conference to conference to network and to get a holiday.
Yeah, I don't want to be in conference. Sorry, I don't.
Yeah,
I've done
like
that.
some people even
I've
get.
done that.
No, don't worry. Like some conferences are really fun. Like some in the
Done that.
volcano, they do the one yard thing trip and
Okay,
excursions,
those ones I can
scuba
take. Okay,
diving.
those ones I can take. Yeah. Okay. I mean, like, I don't want to travel to like a city middle of nowhere in America. Sorry. Go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go to a conference in the middle of Sioux Falls, North Dakota, and then just like stay in this little pathetic like business hotel in Dakota. That's not what I want. No, like I can do like volcano and cave and like scuba diving, like we were saying, but middle of nowhere city in middle of nowhere America, no, thank you.
On the subject, right? Like if you do cave digging, then it'll be where the caves are. So it really
You
depends.
know
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
have just two things. The next time, because you were saying Asia, but you were in China and Taiwan.
I was in Hong Kong and Taiwan.
Okay, so yeah,
Okay, which is part of China? Okay,
I was gonna.
No, but yeah, you
because I know Mo is gonna pick on that.
mainland,
No, I didn't go mainland.
but you
I didn't
can.
have time.
Yeah,
I
but
can.
you could. So one thing about cave is it happens that in my family I have a world
You have
championship.
a cave?
The guy who went the most from the deepest in a cave,
Explorator. I don't know
but
how
it
to
has
say
been
that.
years ago. Now he has been beaten by others, but he was the champion, the Guinness record, and he's he's in a region of South Center,
I
and
think
we
near
met him once.
Sichuan, maybe.
We met him once in Beijing, but he's like a caveman. But you could, I mean, if you are interested, you could go meet him and we can introduce you to him.
He's Chinese. He's Chinese or he's
No,
French?
he's
French.
French.
He's
Yeah,
French
it's
in
his
China.
biological uncle. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. He
he's
lived
totally
in
French.
China for decades and decades.
Where does he
And
live again?
I think in Sichuan, because I'm not sure, because I bought him a
I don't
flight.
think it's Sichuan, but
Yeah,
I will send
wait.
you the article.
Okay.
Yeah, because he asked me to, because he didn't have the local apps. So when
Ah,
I
yeah,
was
so you
there in
saw.
2008,
Yeah.
2009, I bought a flight for him to fly where he lives. So I know
Mhm.
it's the West. It's a
Okay.
place, probably Guizhou. I don't know, a place I've never
Somewhere over
traveled to.
there.
That could
Somewhere over
Somewhere
there.
be
over in the West.
such an adventure. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
one other
No,
thing,
my
yeah.
my plan. Oh, sorry, Greg, you
No,
keep
those
keep
because
going.
it's the
No,
second
keep going.
thing. No, go on, go
No,
on.
no, my I think my plan right now is because I wanted to know the reason why I took this 2 week course is because I wanted to know whether I like this medium or not. I've been thinking about
Yeah.
this medium for 4 years. I was like, it's actually I went on to kind of make myself give up on this. It's like try it, give up, okay. But I end up liking it. Okay, cool. And so I've been talking to a lot of people while I was in Asia, and I was saying to them that like I'm gonna learn this and I'll explore more when I'm in Canada, when I'm back, make some money first, because I need some money, and then get some part-time jobs. And then I'm thinking next time I do, because they have more advanced class in Beijing. There's this school called 李可，what is that word called? Like dyeing fabric, yeah, yeah, 是不
Guys.
是 yeah
Yeah.
dyes, yeah. There's this guy
What?
called 是理性，然后可以的可，然后染 Do you know this guy? So there's like an
Uh,
artist guy called 李可
Yeah.
Ran,
Is well known.
and he set up a school there in Beijing, and he offered a lot of advanced classes, not just in Nihonga, but in also oil paint, acrylic, and fresco, blah 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 blah. So my friend was telling me about this school. So I'm thinking, like next time, if once I explore more about this technique, in Vancouver, then when I make some money, I can go to Beijing, and then I can learn from this guy.
Yeah.
but Li Keran, there is one Li Keran that is who passed away in 1989 in Beijing.
Oh,
Right.
no.
But he also
So
set up
maybe
a school.
it's maybe after his name, right? Like maybe his
It's after his
grandchildren
name,
running
yeah.
it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
It's like St. Michelangelo school of Michelangelo died 500 years ago. Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
more
but-
you
like
get
a
the idea.
70s school
Yeah.
and yeah.
Exactly.
Got it.
So I was thinking, like for next year. Oh, by the way, I got a grant for this trip in Taiwan. Yay!
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
the grant from Taiwanese university or from local Vancouver?
From Canadian government. Yay! Thank
Ah,
you.
cool.
oh, cool.
So
Wow.
yeah, I got a grant for it. Thank God. I just found out about this like a week ago, like right
Oh,
after I came
so
back.
so they give you grant actually posteriorly.
Well, it's because I applied way too late. So what
Ah,
happened was that I was working in the printmaking shop, and I was talking to a Taiwanese guy there about my upcoming Taiwan trip. And he was like, "You going international and learning some stuff about art? Why don't you write a grant about this? You have nothing to lose, right?
yeah.
If you get
Oh,
it,
that's
you
cool.
get the money. If you don't get it,
Cool.
nothing to lose."
You don't lose
I was like,
anything. Yeah.
exactly. I was like, "You're done right about this." So I put together a grant proposal in 2 days. Thank you, ChatGPT, and then just submit it. And it takes like 4 months to approve the grant. So I submitted in April, and it takes like April, May, June, and July, and August. And I just found out about I got the grant last week. So it's
Oh,
cool.
nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
To
So
cover the trip.
yeah.
So usually the grants, in academia at least, is they will not pay you for more than what you spend. How let's say, if I get a grant to do an investigation from my school, so you just justify your costs,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would cover that. That's Greg's question. He asked how much you get paid for that. It's usually not based on the level of outcome. Let's say not because you do a better course, you have a better work, they give you more
No.
money. It's not based
No,
on more rates.
I haven't gotten money yet because you have to take several steps after you accept it. Like you have to accept it first. They have to approve it, and then you have to write a report about the whole experience. So I
Yeah.
haven't gotten the final amount yet, but like they have a spreadsheet. When I apply for the grant, they have a spreadsheet, and then they tell you how much you can spend on airline, like what is the maximum price, how much you can spend per day. So I did the calculations and I proposed to them like I need this amount of money, and they gave me the full amount. Surprise!
Because you put under their limit, so of course they'll give you full amount,
Yeah.
right? Like, because
No,
if you
it's not
say
always. It's not always. Like I had a friend, he's a professional artist, and he hired a grant writer to write him a grant, and he
Wow.
got like couple $100.
Uh,
So I'm pretty proud of myself. Like I put this together in 2 days and I got like, hey, the full amount. Hey,
because
dude.
you're genuine.
Huh?
yeah, because you're genuine, your stories, and also the fact that I think the internationality also they prefer to give someone who, you know,
I think
brings diversity.
the rarity of the subject matter, like, you know, the
Yeah.
because I was like so emphasized that, oh, nobody knows about this North America. It's funny. As soon as I wrote that, a week later, I was in a networking event and I met a girl who went to Yangmei who studied Bihua. Who, like
Yeah.
I met a girl from Central Academy of Art in Beijing
Fine
who
art,
studied
Kappa.
who studied fresco painting. It was like, damn it, there's someone there,
I
but
know
I already wrote that.
five. I know like five.
really?
One is a professor, one is a PhD graduate. They all study Dunhuang Bihua. It's
Yeah,
a
but they're
big
in China,
subject
right? They're in China,
in
right?
Beijing.
Yeah.
They're
So
all in
this one is
Beijing.
in Vancouver. It's like, how? What is the
Wow.
probability? And she's a Hong Konger, by the way. So like we're in the
Ah.
same niche. Anyway, so I was like, as soon as I submitted a proposal saying that like I'm the only one doing this, I find someone doing it.
But you were the only
Anyway,
one who applied in that, you know, sense. So they
exactly.
have to
Yeah.
not give all
Anyway,
the 20 grants to the same person who studied, let's say, you know, all your
yeah,
painting, I guess. You know, it's
yeah,
the subject matter. That's great. That's
yeah.
cool. So when
So
you ever want to go to Beijing, let me know because
yeah,
our family
I'll
has a
definitely let
small
you know.
flat near the airport.
Oh,
It's not so convenient to the middle of the city, but it's near the
okay.
airport. So, you know, when you
Awesome.
get off flight, it's 10 minutes drive. So
Awesome. Yeah, I'll let you know. And it'll be next year if not next year. But
yeah, if it's next year after June, let's say, then I will come with you because
that's gonna be
next year before June, I will be writing my thesis. So hopefully
okay.
after June, I will like finish my study and then like
Yeah,
I don't know, fingers crossed, and then
yeah.
uh
Hopefully we'll meet in
we can
Beijing.
meet. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
Greg, you
idea.
coming? You're coming, right?
I
You're
hope
coming,
so.
right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So if
I really want. I have a dream to make this residency on the train to go from Italy to Beijing on the train.
Oh,
Trip
from Madrid.
in a train.
it's not the Siberian train, right?
It's the Road and Belt 一带一路 train. It's usually only for cargos, not for
Oh,
humans.
I know
Right.
about this. I know about this. My tour guide in Iran, he was a tour guide for part of the Iran trip because you had to hire someone through some of the
Okay.
countries. So he was hired by this program, the people who participated in this program, to go through Iran. So he was telling me about it. Like you have to like buy a car that's under $2,000, $3,000,
No,
and
no.
it something like that. You have to buy a really cheap car to go through all these countries.
No,
No,
it's a
train.
train. It's a train.
Oh, it's a train. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Road and Belt train. So it's like
Oh,
it's a
okay.
it's a strategic program for basically military, but they don't say
Mm-hmm.
that. They say it's for cultural exchange,
Yes,
but they say for
logistic.
business. But usually, yeah, when it's train, it's never logistically more efficient than cargo ships or flights.
No.
But trains are the hardest to destroy in war because you can repair easily and it's very hard to target. You have to throw the bombs along everywhere and it's not efficient.
Yeah.
Usually you just bomb an
Yeah.
airport. So that is the
Okay.
reason China sponsored building it and making it work. And it goes like every couple of months. There's like, I think it's not every week, it's like every maybe month
No,
they
they
keep
use
it.
traffic. There's a huge traffic between Europe and China
Yeah.
and these trains. But
Yeah,
for
but they don't
the
go from the beginning to the end.
electric cars, they are using train, not just so not just the ships. But yes, is yeah. I would love
Okay.
to. There's gigantic trains going
You
like
should do it, Greg. You should do it. You're still young. You're still young. You can do it.
When you start to say that,
No, the best. Oh my God, it's never too late. When you people say it's never too late, you're gonna do it before you die. It's a sign, means that you're kind of old. Shoot, I just said it to Pixie. I said, it's not too late," and I think he gave me a look like,
I didn't say you're still too late. You're still young. I said you're still young. That's different.
It's going
The
on.
nuance
I
is
have no
different.
problem with that. It's okay.
Yeah, it's so funny. And the best
But it's
question
true.
yeah.
No, go on.
The best question I've been asked as a kind of a joke related with age is, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I got asked last year that, and I was like, because I was talking about my study, I'm going to graduate, and then this person asked me, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Oh, does
And
she
it's
think
for
that you're
me.
23?
No. I said I'm old, but then he's like, I know, but you're still young. Your life still have a lot of opportunities, especially like you're still at school. That means you can choose again the next step, your destiny. And I like that. It was intentional, and I like that the way of thinking. Not like, oh, it's never too late. You're not that old yet, or like,
Yeah.
but what do you want to do when you grow up? That's
Yeah. What do you want to do
we're
when you
always
grow up?
we're always reinventing ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last thing I wanted to say is, the connection between birds and caves, the mining bird. You know
Oh,
that?
the one in Peru. No.
So it's a bird you put into a cage. So when you go mining, when there's no air, the bird dies first. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
And it could be an idea for a series of work.
Motif. Yeah.
okay. Well,
Because
I
cage is useful.
Actually, speaking of motifs, remember I was telling you guys about the motifs I want to use. It's called like feetless bird, 没有脚的鸟. You remember that couple months ago I was telling you about it?
yes.
So I did a painting. One of the paintings I did during the workshop was about that theme, and so I was presenting it, and one of the classmates came up to me later on and said to me that her classmates in this master degree program used the same theme for her thesis. So I was like, oh, cool, like like connect us. So I connected with this Taiwanese artist who also used the same theme as her for her work, and we were just chatting. She makes like specimens, like she collect dead birds and makes specimens herself, and we were just talking, and we were like, oh, is there a possibility that we can do a show together? Yes, let's do this. So there's a lot of it was just speaking of motifs. That was part of my trip, just networking.
Nice. When Greg said
I was like a networking machine.
When Greg said about the bird and the rock, I thought he meant those birds who build their nests on the rocks.
No.
You see it was a viral video that the mommy birds will push the little birdies off the cliff.
No.
Like
What he was saying is that it's a minor thing. So miners who work in the mine, want
they
to
use birds.
I'm gonna go catch my bird.
Yeah, we exploit animals. That's kind of sad. That's a sad thing.
Yeah. Sorry. What Greg was saying, it's a minor, like when miners were working in mine, they want to find out whether a mine is poisonous or not. So instead of having a person go in, they have a bird goes in, because birds are very sensitive to different themes and different odors, right? Yeah.
So lack of oxygen.
It's every animal is more sensitive to us. We are like we're like zombies. I see. I was more thinking like the relation between the bird and the rock. This bird can live on the rocks, and that can also be like, I mean, rocks can be a good backdrop for the bird portraitures as well. I mean, if you want to link, it's not so far fetched. Rocks and birds, and it's not that far. I mean, I would say it makes sense. But, you can ask the bird. What do you think?
Can you hear him going like grag, the whole time? No.
Yeah.
He was like,
the speaking, yes, but the small
Yeah.
speaking, like I don't.
Okay. He was like going like crack, the whole time.
Cute.
Okay. So it
Cool.
was
Anyway.
good meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Mm.
All right. See you guys. Thank you.
I'll
Thank
see
you.
you
See you
next
next
time.
Bye.
time. Bye bye.
Bye. The recording.
Now we stop the recording.
It's on the right up corner.